So, good evening, everybody. I believe we are live. That's perfect timing, Count. I hope you're well. So, let's see. Good evening, Roland Flower, Manisco Laxina, Left or Right, Manji Maha, and who else? Good evening, Rainyard. Great to have you. Good evening, Olena, as well. Okay, so we're going to do the same as always. And now February is going through. Okay, yes, we have just started. It's wonderful to be here with you all again. Hey, VG, and hi, Vitali. Yes, you've been waiting for it, Mohammed. It's fine, thank you. And Homo sapiens, hey, and Raphael, good evening. Well, watch what you can, VG. There's always the replay. Nice new glasses. Thank you. These are probably a bit stronger than the last one, so maybe I can see a little bit better. Maybe less typos. Good evening, Amin. Great to see you here. Okay, so let's see. Where were we? Yes. Okay, we were with this article about narcissists. Good evening, Slow Sunset Vibes. Slow Sunset. Hi, Funda. Great to have you. So this is the one we did last time. Rovelli and Curnis did note that women tend to have slightly lower narcissism scores, but the generally small number of female CEOs in their sample meant they were unable to come to any firm, rigid, stiff, loyal, firm conclusions, though they hope to investigate this question in the future. Okay, so hi Sonia, great to have you. Ginty, great as well. It must be the middle of the night for you. Well, it is for you, certainly for Manji as well. And good evening. So let's see. Oksana, yay, great to see you. Okay, so let's rock and roll. Spotting the narcissist. Rovelli and Curnis believe that their results have serious implications for the workplace, since they show that narcissistic people are still favoured despite the well-known problems they present to their companies. Our results are kinda, somehow, someway, somewhat worrying, says Rovelli and Curnis. Hi Maria Traspasso, and good evening Tangine. Wow. So we're getting some answers already. Okay, so we've got different answers. That's really good. So let's see. We got somewhat for Vitali, somehow for Laxina, kinda for Count Beauty, somewhat for Oksana, somehow for Valentine. Roland says somehow, Renyard says somewhat, Slow Sunset for somehow, Gedrudis, great to have you Gedrudis, is somehow, and Ginty says somewhat. This is interesting. So everybody's gone between, wow, thank you Left or Right. That reminds me as well, thank you very much Roland for your kind donation as well. Okay, that's really kind of you Left or Right, and very kind of you Roland as well. So good evening Paul, somewhat for Amin and somehow for Raphael. Okay, one of these is definitely better. Yeah? So somehow for Flower, somewhat for Manisco, somehow for Maria Traspasso, somehow for Manji, somewhat for Olena. Good evening Katia, great to have you. Paul goes for somehow, Sheed goes for somehow. So happy Sunday to you too, Katia. I'm between somewhat and somehow. Let's see, they both make sense, but one is a better answer than the other. Somehow or somewhat, though they have different meanings. Yes, Victor Gabriel, and that's the point. That's the point, VG. So firstly, kinda. Kinda is far too informal. Yeah, it's kind of difficult. Yeah, I'm kind of gonna arrive a bit late. No. So David Jim Miller says somehow. Ha. Okay, so slow sunset. I said somehow by intuition. However, I'm unable to tell the difference. So let's see. Somewhat pretty. Ooh, that's a lovely observation. So, some way. I've got to find some way to do it. Somehow is the same as some way. Yeah? If I say it's somehow worrying, I don't know exactly how it worries me, but it worries me in some way. Whereas somewhat, we use this for a bit. Yes. Kinda is the chav answer. Absolutely, left or right. Thank you, Oksana. You are explaining this for me. So, kinda is just far too informal, Ayad. Okay, so, let's see. This is somewhat expensive, a bit. This is somewhat difficult, a bit. This is, it's somewhat hot, a bit. But we don't use somehow like this. Let's see. Let me try a different example with somehow. So somehow he managed to get into the house. I don't know how, but he managed to do it. Somewhat, more than a little, somehow, in some way. Thank you, Vitali. Keep up your unsolicited infos all night, please. Good evening, Moises. Great to have you, Moises Estarlin Taveras. So, somewhat, a bit. We use this word somewhat quite a lot, fairly, yeah? Whereas somehow, in some way. So, no, somewhat. SOMEWHAT, somewhat, a bit. Is somewhat a formal word. Somewhat. I think it's a bit, it's a little bit informal. I'd probably give it a 4.5, 4.75. It just about works here. But kinda is like a 3 informality. Somewhat is definitely the answer, yeah? Okay, good evening, Tom K. So, correct, VG. Yes, that's the idea. Okay, so somewhat, quite a lot. Yes, okay, it's a more formal version of kinda, yeah? But it's not terribly formal, yeah? Somewhat, quite a lot, yeah? So, somewhat is, let's see, but that's the point, Laxina. I gave it a 4.75, but kinda is just too informal, and somehow the meaning's not right, yeah? Okay, so let's see. Let's try the next one. And they point out that the narcissist's rapid promotion could mean they don't have, the necessary experience to carry out their responsibilities, which could chafe, agitate, excite, provoke, exacerbate the effects of their rash and dishonest decision making. So, here. Okay. And we've got answers already. So, exacerbate for Vitali, provoke goes for Count, your clever nephew. Very good. Okay, Manji for exacerbate. Renyard for exacerbate. Oksana, Laxina, Count, Olena, Roland, Leferite, Valentine and Raphael, all for exacerbate. Very good. What does this word to chafe mean? Normally to provoke is to make somebody angry. Yeah, you wave a red rag in front of a bull to provoke it. Yeah, provoke's not the right answer. Yeah, I kept being rude to him to see if I could provoke him, to try and get a strong reaction out of somebody. So, good evening, Luke. So, I'm sorry, Manisco and Sheed. It's exacerbate, as Katia says. Good evening, Luke Roberts. Great to have you here. So, Maria Traspaso says to exacerbate. So, to provoke is to make somebody angry, to do something to cause a problem, to provoke a reaction. Chafe, to rub, to scrape. Thank you, Vitali. I got the feeling that most people didn't know this one. Yeah, to rub together, that's it. My new shoes are chafing. No, they're not. It's a beautiful pair of Dr. Martens and they don't chafe at all. Good evening, Mr. President George Washington. Which chafe? Yes, something could chafe, Julia Maldini. Definitely. The rules chafe. They make me angry. Okay, Luke's still with his segue. Okay, so thank you, Luke. Okay, and then this word rash. If you do something rash, you don't think about it. You're headstrong. Yeah. Incentive usually excites employees. Yes. To exacerbate, to make worse. To chafe. Yes, the shoes chafe against my feet. The rules chafe against against my my good nature. Chafe, be annoyed. Literally, Olena, it means to rub against. Yeah, shoes chafe. When you get too fat, the thighs chafe. Ouch, 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 ouch. Thank you, Ginty. To chafe, to scrub against. I think scrub has more the idea of to do it on purpose, whereas chafe more normally is just because two things rub together. Okay, and fortunately there are some practical steps that any organisation could take to minimise narcissists' impact on the workplace. Ideally, this should begin with smarter recruitment to identify someone with problematic tendencies before they ever reach a position where they could bring, wreak, bestow, forge, ferment damage. Hi, Flexibility, great to have you. Chafing. The chafing of these shoes is horrible. Yes, chafing. Yeah? Okay. Yes, the chafing of one thing against another. So, substantive, Julia. We normally say a noun, but substantive, substantivo, I can hear it there. Okay, so we've got some answers. And Valentine says bring damage. And Vitali says wreak damage. Laxina, wreak damage. Hi, double A. Okay, Sheed says bring. So does Count Beauty. Tom K, wreak havoc. Havoc would be perfect. Yeah? So, bring for Katia, bring for Manisco. Bring for Roland, bring damage for Olena before they could bring damage. Interesting. The word wreak is like cause, but it's a bit more critical, to me at least. Yeah, I think this is quite critical though, Laxina. Yeah? Wreak havoc. Yeah? Bring damage. Okay, Vladimir says bring, and so does Maria Traspaso. My thighs chafe after I ran the London Marathon. Wow, I'm impressed. Good English, double A. Okay, cause damage sounds good. Yes, cause damage sounds really good. Bring suits best for flexibility. Julia Maldini. Reek should work, says left or right. Okay, check out Luke's segue video. Okay, and Maha says bring, and Raphael says bring. Manji goes for reek, and Julia says bring. Bestow on. Could bestow damage on the company. Maybe. I suppose that would work. Let's see. Bring up damage. No. So this is very interesting. I've only had a couple of right answers. I'll start by saying bring damage. You don't bring damage, you cause damage. Yeah, you do damage, but you don't bring damage. Yeah, bring damage. It doesn't work. It doesn't work, guys and girls. Manji says reek. Yeah. To reek with an R means to smell. Yeah, my unwashed socks reek with an R. To reek, to cause. I chafe my feet, thus I feel footsore. That's a good one, Renyard. So it's not bring. To bestow means to give somebody an honour. They're going to bestow a knighthood on me, like hell they are. To forge. To forge is to make something with difficulty, but forge is very positive. To forge an agreement. Yeah. And to ferment. No, you ferment ill feeling. Yeah? It's not forge. It's not forge, Oksana. Yeah. What about your reek, Katya? I quite like your reek. Wreak is the right word. W-R-E-A-K. To wreak havoc, to cause havoc. Yeah? To wreak damage. Yeah? To wreak damage. Wreak is a pretty strong word. Yeah? But if you remember before, there was this rogue trader who lost his company billions of dollars. They bestowed a knighthood on him. They bestowed an honour on him. Absolutely, Tom K. So no, to ferment. You want to ferment. Yeah, I'm thinking about ferment and foment. To ferment, no, you ferment beer. This is, my previous explanation was foment with an O. To ferment, no, the beer is fermenting. Yeah, you need to ferment soy sauce to make a good soy sauce. So no, to wreak, to cause something really bad. It's quite a strong word. Wreak havoc, but wreak damage. And notice, havoc and damage. Damage isn't as strong. Yeah? Wreak damage. That's the answer, Roland. Okay? To wreak. To wreak disaster. Yeah? Yeah. Raphael, I knew the word wreak havoc, but I went for bring. I found wreak damage strange. It's as you know, the wreak havoc one, wreak damage, very definitely. Too many fermented drinks cause damage. Thank you. Foment a quarrel. Thank you. With the O, Vitali. Fermented brew. Yeah. Okay, so we've got the next one up already, and count is out of the blocks. So fitting for count and Vitali for due. Ha. And simply practicing fitting, due, suitable, just, diligence with references and background checks would be an excellent start, says Ian McRae, a psychologist and author of the forthcoming book, Dark Social Understanding, The Dark Side of Work. So this is a collocation. This is a business collocation. So is it fitting diligence, due diligence, suitable diligence, just diligence? Yeah. So let's see. We've got due for Vitali. Valentin goes for suitable. Vladimir goes for due. Double A for due. Elena for due. I mean due diligence. She due diligence. Laxina, Raphael and Oksana go for due diligence, and so does Leffy. Okay. Due diligence means taking appropriate care. To be diligent is to do something properly, to make sure you're doing it right. Fermented milk. Okay, due for Gertrudis. Due diligence for flexibility. Okay, Tom Gay goes suitable and Julia for fitting diligence. Maria Traspasso, due diligence. Alliteration. Yes, that's another good reason to choose it, Manji. Okay, just means fair. Okay, due diligence. This is a lawyer's word. Before you sign a contract, you should get your lawyers to do due diligence to check that everything's okay. Anything wrong with foment? To foment damage. I think it probably fits. It's on the edge of acceptability, and that's why I wrote ferment, because foment with an O, it could have fitted. To foment damage, yeah, to foment problems. Okay, and Renyard goes for just. Okay, due diligence. Yeah, this is a lawyer's word, a business word, a word that you definitely a collocation you need to know. Okay, I don't think there's anything wrong with foment damage. I think foment problems. Edit, foment a quarrel. That's another good one as well. Fitting. The meaning of fitting and suitable is fine. To conduct due diligence, yes. The lawyers need to conduct due diligence. This is to check something appropriately. Thank you, Ginty. That is so kind of you. So now I have to thank Roland. I have to thank Leferite, and I need to thank you as well, Ginty. So I'm still astonished at how often people skip, leap, spring, shirk over this for senior positions, especially when the candidate is very charming. Thank you again, Neog. That's really kind of you. Okay, so skip for Vitali, leap for Count. Wow, yes, thank you, Leffy. And skip for Laxina. This is off topic. Could you please explain what graceful and gracefully are? With elegance. He danced gracefully. I am very clumsy. I'm not graceful. With elegance, a dancer is graceful. Careful examination and inspection. Examination, analysis, review. That's due diligence. The appropriate careful examination that there should be. Olena goes for skip. So does Manji, Valentine, Sheed, Flower, Tom. Manisco goes for leap. Foment political unrest. That's a good one. Skip for Katya and skip for Getrudis. Okay, so leap over this. Well, firstly, what's this word? To shirk. Graceful, easy moving. Thank you, Vitali. I love it. Okay, and that's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to have you, Louise. So skip for Raphael, skip for Amin. To leap. I think to leap is more physical. Yeah, although a leap year is when the time leaps. To skip this. Okay, so Oksana, skip. Though I'd say skip without the over. So would I, Oksana. I prefer how often people skip this. So did you ever skip classes? Shritor responsibilities. Oh, shirk your responsibilities. Absolutely, Maria Traspasso. To shirk, to avoid. Thank you again, Ginty. It's really kind of you. To shirk responsibility. How come you know that one, left or right? To shirk, I mean to avoid responsibility. The rabbit leaped. I would probably say leapt, but leaped is perfectly okay. Shirk, avoid from Oksana. Is shirk the synonym of flee? No, to shirk is to avoid doing what you're responsible, what you should be doing. Yeah, to flee means to run away. Yeah, the lion's coming. Let's flee. Yeah, let's run away. So, alert from Vitali. Shirk, to avoid. Sounds great. Shirk responsibility, Maria Traspasso. I've understood you though. I very often skip the advertisements. Yes, to skip, to jump, not to do. And to spring is also to jump, but I think leap and spring are both very physical. Shirk means to avoid your responsibilities. So it's skip over, to skip class, to skip lunch, to skip the boring bit. I skip the video to the end. It's what you're known for, Leffy. Yes. Okay, good. So let's try the next one. McRae's second suggestion is to use a diverse hiring panel and to note how the candidate responds to people of different status within the organisation. Narcissists are very good at managing up, being nice to people above them, but then tend to treat the people they perceive as lower status very differently. But if you don't have any miscellany, diversity, deviation, mishmash of evaluators in the hiring process, you're unlikely to pick this up, to notice this, to pick something up. Shirk equals flee, no, Roland. Shirk to avoid. To skive, I love that word, Flower. Yes, to skive. Okay, this one's really easy. Okay. I would use flee before knowing this word. Okay, yes. To skip this step. Flee, fled, to run away. Yeah? The people fleeing the Civil War. So we're going to have a landslide here, I can see it. So diversity for Vitali, Oksana, Valentin, Laksina, Count Beauty, a shirker of duty, yes, Malak. Miscellany of evaluators. I actually think miscellany works, but it's not the answer they used. Diversity for Raphael, Olena, Tom K, Manji. A deviation. If you deviate, you go away from what the right course. And a mishmash. A mishmash is a mishmash of evaluators. I guess it could do. It's a mixed group. Diversity. So diversity for Manji, Vladimir, Katya, Gertrudis, Roland. Managing up. Yeah, it's treating the people above you. It's a good phrase. Diversity. Good evening, Maria Mikkonen. Great to have you. Okay, and Double A says deviation. Good evening, Gabriel. Great to have you. The answer is diversity. And notice, this word diverse at the beginning really gives it away. Yeah, so a diversity, different things. Good evening to Mohammed Mifras in Sri Lanka, one of my favourite places in the world. So, more generally, great to have you. Students should not deviate from the ground rules. Absolutely. Mishmash is lower formality. Absolutely. Yeah. There are a mishmash of different things available. George Washington, diversity of evaluators could be expensive, so I'd stick at miscellany. I love that. Okay, so more generally, McRae argues that organisations can curb, withhold, quell, quit narcissists' tendencies by overtly rewarding ethical behaviour, creating a system that will naturally appeal to narcissists' sense of competition. Okay, so what does this word quell mean? And what about curb with a K as well? So, you got the honour. Good, it's great to have you, Mohammed Umair Khan. Great to have you. So, curb for Vitali for Count. Okay, Makubuya. Better late than never. Great to have you. You've still got half an hour left. So, curb for Laksina, for Leffy, and Oksana, Sri Lanka. Island Sarandip. Beautiful place. Curb for Gabriel, curb for Vladimir and Olena and Mohammed Umair, and curb for Renyard, withhold, says Sheed, curb for Maria Traspaso, quell for Amin, nip it in the bud. Yes, can nip narcissist tendencies in the bud. That's a really good synonym. Curb for Maria Mikkonen and Roland. Quell for Katya. Curb your enthusiasm. Quell is too violent a word. Quell, to crush. Particularly, you quell an uprising. You quell your fears. Yeah, it's too strong. It's too violent. And as Vitaly says, to crush. So that's very good work there by Oksana and Vitaly. Manisha, great to have you. AZ, to suppress. Yes, that works as a synonym. Curb, viz, fight. Fight against. Reduce. Curb for Gabby. Good evening, Gabby. And curb for Raphael. Quell, I think, is to eradicate or end something unpleasant. The police quelled the riot with sticks and tear gas. Hi, Alex Forever 32. Great name. Okay, curb for double A. Quell could be too radical a solution. Curb is usually enough. So, hey, thank you, Alex Forever. Quell your fears. That's a good collocation. Curb, to keep in check. Quell would be put an end, I guess. Curb, yes, Mohammed. Withhold is not enough. So to withhold is to not give something that is appropriate to someone. Withholding tax. This is tax that the government keeps out of your salary before you even get paid. Wow, Manji, thank you. Gosh, today everyone's being so generous. So thank you, Roland. Thank you, Leferite. Thank you, Jinty. And thank you, Manji. Thank you, Manji. So to curb, to stomp on. I like that. Good evening, Anya, as well. Whomst. I'm not sure I can say that, Alex. Whomst deadly yain't did less. Yes. I can't do it, Alex. Okay, let me get back to work. Now you can understand the phrase. Notice, normally curb with a K, for me as a Brit, is the edge of the road. Yeah, although I looked this up quite carefully before I came into class, and you can use curb with a K to restrict, but I recommend curb with a C to restrict, and curb the edge of the road. Okay, so to jettison, to throw away. So the plane was going to crash, so they jettisoned everything that they want, to throw out of the ship, to throw out of the aeroplane, to throw out of the hot air balloon. And effectively, metaphorically, Tom K, to get rid of it. To withhold permission, good Roland. Withhold information, good Vladimir. Yes, thank you, Manji. Thank you, Manji. Yes, you're a wonderfully generous giver. Thank you. And curb from Malak. Okay. So I'm happy to see you here, Malak. That's the right answer. Have a wonderful Monday, Manjira. Have a wonderful week, Manji. She deserves it. Okay, thank you. So Louise Lopez, would it be possible for you, sir, to tell us your British accent? Thank you. My British accent is RP. It's not high RP, it's low RP. It's what any middle class person worth their salt in the southwest of England would speak. Okay? So yeah, effectively it's that versus the working class accent that Left-Right loves. Yeah, I want a glass of water, please. Okay. Yep, I couldn't even say a letter. She's no longer able to withhold her feeling. Yes, that's great. A great example of withhold. Curb is not a mutually exclusive term to Britain. No, the Americans use curb as well. Yeah. Yeah. My Hero Academia. My Hero Academia. No, I haven't. So George Washington goes for behold. What does appeal? Okay, to attract, to make attractive for. So the food served on the plate looks really appealing. Yeah, this appeals to his greedy nature. Wow. Okay. Yes, it could be curb with a K, Maria Mikkonen. So, Left4Right says, I like to give, but receiving is better. Well, okay, that's wonderful. Thank you, Katia. Yes, Maria Mikkonen, as I said, curb, it definitely could be as well. So, Mohammed, I've been trying to attend these live sessions. How can I know when the next session is, please? The next session is a week from today, Sundays at 6 p.m. UK time. That's the date. Yeah. So, Renyard, my friend. So, Cockney, ha. Yeah. Okay, and Left4Right's laughing. That was for you, Leffy. Yes, I think we're definitely going to call him Leffy from now on. So we're starting to get some answers. If the system rewards pro-social behaviour and does not tolerate antisocial behaviour, such as bullying or malicious, sinister, rotten, sinful, acid gossip, then narcissists will use the strategies they see to be effective to climb the ladder. I personally think there are two answers here, but one is better than the other. And, okay, Leffy, definitely. So Count goes for sinister, Valentine for malicious, Vladimir for malicious, Sheed for malicious, Raphael. So the answer to the previous one, to curb, sorry, I didn't write this in capitals, C-U-R-B. To curb was the right answer. I'm sorry about that. Okay, and here. I didn't have. Okay, so sorry about that, Raphael. And malicious for Mohammed. Okay, and Vitali goes for malicious, so does Gabriel. Roland, malicious gossip. Malicious for Laxina. Sinister for Katia. Maria Traspasso for malicious. Olena for malicious. Renyard, Maria Mikkonen. Caustic gossip. Yes, I think you could. I think maybe acid gossip also fits. I prefer caustic to acid, definitely. Malicious. Do we apply Benemel rule? Please explain that a bit. Okay, I get it. Mal negative, bene positive. Yeah, bene is from good in Latin, and mal for bad. Malicious, though I find acid also okay. Toxic could work well. Toxic's a really good word, Tom K. I love it. Sinister works too. Okay, so I agree with Vitali and I agree with Oksana. Malicious but sinister works AA, depending on the nature of hatefulness in the gossip. Okay, so rotten gossip. Yes, it's a bit informal, Julia Mandini. Okay, Macaboya. And malicious, definitely. Acid might work, says Renyard. So, malicious, but I will also accept sinister. If something's sinister, there's something evil about it, something that's not right. And acid, extremely painful and cutting. Benefit, benevolent. Malicious, malefactor. So let's see. Okay. Yes, my name is Alex. I realised that. So I mean, where are we? And flexibility says rotten. Luke is about his video. Maha for malicious Maha. Amin says sinister. Okay, sinister or malicious for Amin, a sinister sign, sinister motives. And toxic gossip, that sounds good as well, Tom K. Malicious for Rafa, laxina, benefit, benevolent. Here, curb is not a thing. No, not curb. K-E-R-B. K-E-R-B. Ha, that's why. Ha, curb. K-E-R-B. It's my spelling. It sounds the same. I quite agree with you, Vitali. The curb, K-E-R-B. But notice you can also use this word curb as C-U-R-B. And that's what I'm saying, Vitali. Okay, acid is a noun and acidic is an adjective. But it could be a noun-noun construction, Vitali. Acid gossip, and that's why it works. Events take a sinister turn. Okay, a sinister spectre. I quite like that from Reynard. Okay, I mean, between asocial, antisocial and unsocial. Asocial is somebody who doesn't relate with people at all, a hermit. A vandal is antisocial. And unsocial is somebody who's a bit rude. Yeah? So asocial, I stay at home the whole time. Antisocial, I go and smash it up. And unsocial, a bit rude. So rotten gossip, as I would with toxic. I guess. Okay. Is the past tense of hitted? No, it's hit for me. Although maybe it's coming in. Dirty gossip. Okay, I'm going to the next one, or I'm going to be in so much trouble in a second that if these findings have led you to recognize narcissistic trends, tendencies, biases, directions in your own boss and colleagues, then there may be little you can do to curb their more excessive displays of self-interest. But you can try to use your understanding of their personality to limit their effects on your career. So, tendencies for Vitali for Shaid. Unfortunately, Malak, it was malicious. Mohammed goes for tendencies. I think it's not about right or wrong, but the word whose is whose the fitting is more suitable. Whose is more fitting. I'm not with it. I'll probably get there in a second. So laxina for tendencies, tendencies for Valentine, for Anya, tendencies for Oksana. I might be wrong as well, Louise. It's just I'm finding so many irregular verbs are becoming regular. I become shocked every time I find a new one. Thank you, Maria Mikkonen. Hit. Yeah? But I'm finding lots of them. Blowed, I heard the other day. I looked it up and it was he blowed on the water. He blew, please. Tendencies for Vladimir. Tendencies for Count, for Olena. I'm getting lost here. I'm falling behind. Okay, so where were we? Tendencies for Olena, for Maria Traspasso, for AA, for Jamil, for flexibility, for Makubuya, for Manji, for Maria Mikkonen. Julia goes for biases. Gabriel for tendencies. Renyard for tendencies. Okay, a bias. I'll explain it in a second. Tendencies for Maria Mikkonen. Tendencies for Katia, like penchants. Thoughts related to some direction. Idiosyncrasies. Yes, I guess idiosyncrasies would work in this case, Leffy. Raphael says tendencies. Roland says tendencies. Yeah, I've not played Animal Crossing. And biases, says Luis Lopez. Malak for tendencies, Amin for tendencies. The thought has distortion due to the person's opinion. Okay, that's the idea of biases. In football matches, when your team loses, you say the referee was biased. If somebody's biased, they, for no good reason, they favour one side. Yeah, it's not a level playing field. Yeah, so is biased. If you're biased against certain racial groups, that is racism. Okay, biases. So, tendencies for Malak for Amin. Trend, says Maha. Nont. Can you put... No, I can't. Sheeps, lol. Ha. Okay, hitted is not a thing and never has been. Sorry about that. Okay, you restore my faith in the English language, Vitali. Mohammed, I find tendencies to be suitable, but narcissistic biases... Yes, I think it probably does work looking at that and how you're putting it. It's certainly grammatically correct. I think tendencies is definitely the right word because we're talking about people. Okay, a flock of sheep. Penchants. Yes, I guess penchants would work. So Jamil, good evening. It's not biases. What's an idiosyncrasy? An idiosyncrasy is a special characteristic. For example, the iPhone. One idiosyncrasy of the iPhone is that it only has one button. Yeah? Unsolicited bias, impartiality. Thank you, Vitali. Political bias. Yes, newspapers have political bias. Thank you, Maria Mikkonen. The referee's a... Okay, I'll leave the rest of you to work this out. He's an SOB, as Leferites put saying. Inclination. Narcissistic inclinations. Yes, that would work. Narcissistic is somebody who loves themselves. They think they're the best. Narcissist is this character from... Greek mythology. What did Narcissus do? I know he fell in love with his own image. I think he probably starved to death. Okay, idiosyncrasies deal with behaviour. It can also be a program has its idiosyncrasies. I like that double A. Biases, prejudices. Okay, no I can't, Alex. Oksana, finally I can practice the word obstreperous. Okay, yes, he's a really obstreperous guy. Narcissistic biases doesn't sound natural. It doesn't sound natural, and to me, tendencies is clearly a much better answer. Narcissistic biases. Well, maybe, you see, narcissists are biased. They think that they're the best. So it could work, but I don't like it. Narcissistic, conceited. Thanks, Vitali. Thanks, Roland. Bias is cutting on the curve. Is sowing also. I'm not well, the bias with an O of your computer. Bias, self-loving. That's good, Roland. A peculiarity, idiosyncrasy. Narcissistic, self-praising without the E. Roland, the A at the beginning. Like mannerisms, yes. Hi Million. Okay, and he fell in love looking himself in the reflection of the water. So good evening Milliam, good evening Abdurim. So I better move on to the next one. I finally got back to where I was. He saw the image on the surface of a lake. Yeah? Amped. Well, these sound crazy. So, 10 dances. I'm not sure I get this one. So, a narcissist is somebody who is in love with their self. They think they're the best, and everything that goes wrong is the fault of everybody else. Okay, so, narcissists tend to respond... I'm going to drink first. Narcissists, people who love themselves and only their self. Yes, I've heard oftentimes and gotten. Narcissists tend to respond badly to direct challenges to their authority, for instance. So if you need to question their actions or suggest a new strategy, try to frame, set up, shell, plot, schedule it in a way that might appeal, to their ego, might make their ego think that's good. Once you've made it clear how your plans might benefit them and their reputation, as well as yourself, they will be far more likely to agree. 10 dances. I still don't get this one, Leffy. It's some smart comment. I'm absolutely certain of it. So, try to frame it in a way for Count Beauty, for Vitali, frame for Leffy. Countenance. Well, either your face or to countenance, to think about something. I won't countenance this. I refuse to accept it. Okay, so, and frame for Olena, Shiid says set up, Oksana for frame, Manji for frame, Gabriel for frame, Laxina for frame, Ciudadano de Saturno, hola profesor, hola ciudadano, and Jamil, frame, flexibility, frame it, Macaboya, frame for Amin, frame, ego is one of my favourite words, it just rolls off your tongue. Yeah, something that appeals to your ego. Well, it's going to make me look good. Plot for Vladimir. Maria Mikkonen for flame. So Laxina habla español. Interesting. Okay, Julia Maldini, set up. Set it up rather than set up it. That's very good. Well done, Tom K. 10 dances, tendencies. 10 dances. 10 dances. I get it, Leffy. Thank you. That's very good. 10 dances. Tendencies. 10 dances. Yes. Okay. I got it. That's lovely, left or right. Okay. Abdurrahim. How can I translate correctly English or on my own language? Abdurrahim, don't translate. Stop translating. It'll just mess you up. Okay, so Katya for setup, Raphael for frame. Good evening, Mukul. Roland goes for frame. So, Vitali, countenance, to put up with. Yes. Also the face. Okay, and Renyard for plot. Manji, yeah, it's a good one, isn't it, from left or right? Shrikant, thank you for coming. And Vitali, hit. I quite agree with you, Vitali. Okay, left or right, he's very creative with his things. Okay, so, to frame. This was Ginty's word the other day, to couch it. Yeah, to frame it. It's the way that you put it. Yeah, so you need to frame this in a way that is acceptable. Yeah, to set it up, as somebody smart said for me earlier. To shell it, you don't shell things. To plot it, you're thinking behind the scenes. To plot it, well, to plot and then to plot how to frame it in a way. To schedule it. Schedule is to do with time. Try to word it in a way. That works very nicely, Oksana. I love it. That's a good example. Mellifluous. Sounds wonderful. Yes, I wish I had a mellifluous voice. The mellifluous sound of the birds singing in the morning. Yeah, mellifluous is a great word. So, okay. Countenance, visage, pos, face. Yes, look at my visage, it's haggard. Well, we've done 53 minutes so far. So, yes, Oksana, it would definitely work. Thank you, Maria Mikkonen. Survronil. Okay, 12:30, you're probably in India then. So, Louise, to frame, to put it in a way. So, I could say, go away. That's framed in one way. Please would you leave? These are framed in different ways. So we frame something is the way that you say it, not the message. It's like you put a picture frame around it. If you put a different frame around a picture, it looks very different. Yeah. So the way you frame something, the words you use. Yeah. You could frame something with incredibly posh and eloquent words, or you could frame it simply. Yeah. Okay, so let's get back to rock and roll. Okay, to bulk. Okay, we're having answers here. You should also try to make sure that your own talents are clearly visible to other members of management. Otherwise, there's the risk that the narcissist will simply bulk up, take credit, piggyback, shoulder, fetch off your agreement, of your achievements, to further their own career. When you're up against a narcissist, when you've got a competition against a narcissist, you may need to sacrifice some of your usual modesty, yeah, to tell them where to get off. So, let's see, whoops. And Sheed says to bulk up. Left or right, the gunpowder plot. Yes, remember the 5th of November, gunpowder, treason and plot. Here, will simply take credit off your achievement. This off is really important. Here, this off is, so take credit, so Sheed for bulk up, Count for take credit, Vitali for take credit, Gabriel for take credit, Elena for take credit, here, Maria for take credit. Take credit off. I guess it fits, but it's not my favourite answer. That's very interesting. The mellifluous song of the lark. That's very good. Mohammed Umair goes for piggyback. And Mukubuya goes for shoulder. So many words and meanings, so little time. Alert, frame, to devise, thank you. 53 minutes closer to death. No, that's Pink Floyd. One day closer to death. Definitely. Okay, and what is the normal preposition with take credit? And which one of these goes better with off? So Manji goes for take credit. Amin for take credit. Raphael says, where am I? I'm totally lost. Okay, piggyback. Take credit for Valentine. Fetch off for flexibility. Okay, Oksana, piggyback, but I don't know if off may come along. So, interesting, Oksana. I was sleeping and a loud beep awoke me. And a loud beep awoke me. How do they differ? And a loud beep, I was sleeping and a loud beep, I slept. I think I slept doesn't sound as good. I was sleeping. I was in the process of sleeping when something else happened. It's much better. I wouldn't use I slept. Yeah, I slept. No. Piggyback on, says Tom K. Flabbergasted is amazed, Mukul. I was flabbergasted at the price. So Double A says piggyback. Take credit I would use with from instead of off. Take credit, I would say, that's interesting. I would not put off with piggyback. To piggyback off, to use something as a base to make it go. Take credit for. Jamil says piggyback. Vladimir says piggyback. This focuses on how you explain something. Yes, that's the idea. I've lost it again. Yes, that frame. Focus how you explain, how you come across as polite. Yes, that's the idea, Louise. Flabbergasted, surprised, gobsmacked. I was gobsmacked. Yes, left, right, the infamous gunpowder plot. You do so. Yes, Louise. Piggyback for Vitali. To piggyback off. Yes, to use it as a base to get something for themselves. So you're underneath and they piggyback off you. Let's see. Take credit off. Maybe, but I would say they take credit for. He took credit for my achievement. That's the point, Vladimir. Take credit for. Teacher, are these words you put on these exercises always commonly used? Just about all of them, Julia. Hey, Guy Fawkes. Okay, have you heard the words shan't and duh? Yes, I have. Laxina. Those are constructions and not words. Well, the constructions that you use with the words are important. To shoulder off. No. To shoulder off. To push off. He shouldered me off. He pushed me off with his shoulder. Take credit for something, and this doesn't fit in here. Yes, well, the narcissist could take credit for your achievement, but take credit off? Not really. Skim off your achievements. Yes. Okay, that's not bad, Tom K. Reynard, if you like classic music, considering listening to The Lark Ascending by Vaughan Williams. I recommend it as well, Reynard. It's a beautiful piece of music. So take credit of. No. Take credit for. Piggyback off. Fetch for Maha. Take credit for. Thank you, Vitali. Take credit for Reynard. Valentine for 4. I'm getting so behind today. Contradictions, Laxina. Okay, and piggyback is a good word. To piggyback off. Is this using something as a base to take off from? It's a really good one. TW for piggyback. Fetch away, take away. Okay, it didn't have. My greatest enemy is time. Time is against us all. Yes, it's very true, Leffy. Unsolicited. I was fast asleep when. Yes, that sounds good. Okay. And Jamil, woebegone. Depressed, full of sadness. Yeah, I was woebegone when my team lost. Very formal, Jamil. Yeah? Okay, woebegone. Very upset. Bulk up off. No, to bulk up means to make bigger, to put things in it. I didn't have enough food, so I bulked up the rice to make sure there was enough for everyone. Okay. Take credit away from. That sounds much better, Jamil. I quite agree. And Roland, the child has been collecting coins in the piggy bank. Here, piggyback, jump on the bandwagon, sort of. Yes, jump on the bandwagon and use that to help you. That's the idea, Vitali. That's great. Shashank, hello, sir. You're late. Yeah, you're a bit late because we're going to finish any second now. Okay, so Laxina, Vitali, thank you. Yeah, you're a real help. Thank you from my side as well, Vitali. Shoulder the blame. Yes, Leffy, you always get to shoulder the blame. The correct answer, piggyback. Whoops. To piggyback off something, to use it as the base, to use it as the launch pad. Okay, and Tom K, piggyback off, but you're piggybacking off you, but piggybacking on your achievements? No, to piggyback off your achievements. Off, you're using something as a base to jump off from. Piggyback off, definitely. Woebegone. Oh, God, I'm so woebegone. Okay, and Azimullah, highly appreciated, thank you. So, George Washington, yes, it is piggyback. Buy taxi in a car. Thank you, AA. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to stop here. So piggyback also collocates with on and onto. To piggyback onto something else. To piggyback onto a higher level. Wow, that was a really, really good. Are the bees still alive? Yes, the bees are doing absolutely fine. They stung one of my neighbours the other day. Oh my God. No, it was all right. As a springboard. That's brilliant, Vitali. Thank you. So, thank you all so much for coming. Thanks to Roland. Thanks to Manji. Thanks to Leffy. Thanks to Jinty. Thank you all for donating. It was just so kind of you. Yeah? Okay, so thank you all. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for all the help, Vitali. Thank you, Oksana. It's been great having you. So, same time next week, same channel. We will continue with this. I think, yeah, there's the next one waiting for us. I do this every time, Mohammed, and this seems to be a good level for you. So, thank you, Julia. Thank you, Maria Mikkonen. Thank you, Shaid. Okay, yes, Louise. Talk to Louise. I'm going to leave the chat on for a bit after I finish. That's a pleasure, Roland. Thank you, George Washington. Thank you, Count Beauty. Thank you, Gabriel. So, int. Okay, thank you for coming, Olena. It's great. Thank you, Roland. Toodle pip, folks. I love that. Toodle pip. Bye-bye. Okay, so, hi, Lipesh. Piggyback onto another business. That's the idea, Live. Thank you, Manji, and thank you for the donation. Really kind of you. Manji, thank you. Thanks for coming, Makuboya. Okay, and Renyard, many thanks. That was brilliant. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Bye-bye, VG. Great to have you. Great to have you live. And Lipesh and Julia and BG and Roland and Berta and Double A have a rugged countenance. Good word, countenance. So, good night and thank you. Take care, sleep well, and no school on Monday. That means you're in the US. Okay, Laxina. Yes, that's the idea. Chat privately. So, bye-bye, VG. Bye-bye,